What does it take to be an effective leader today? We live in times which are constantly and erratically changing and at a pace that we've never experienced before. Predictability in terms of the future for all of us is much more uncertain than it has been in the past. And yet, paradoxically, this is a time when people all around us are craving leadership, effective leadership. So here are 5 tips that I hope you will find useful in developing yourself into an effective leader. Tip number 1, create your leadership space. Now, what do we mean by that? We mean find an opportunity where you can put yourself forward and create a leadership opportunity in order to make an improvement in the current situation. So that means identifying a current situation with which you are dissatisfied, identifying a preferred future situation that is going to make things vastly better and different, and a timescale between the current and the future, and then identify the key issues that need to be addressed to bridge that gap. So that's what we mean finding and creating your leadership space. Tip number 2, having done that, the issue now is to find the right people to put around you to actually achieve that change. Effective leaders have one thing in common. They all have willing followers. Leadership is about willing followership. And so the effective leader will begin to identify the key stakeholders that are needing to be involved in that change because they have a vested interest in that future preferred situation happening. And so the effective leader will look around and find those key stakeholders who they can begin to involve in that leadership vision. They will check out how they see the current situation, how they see the preferred future situation, and together with that small team of key stakeholders, they will come up with a vision for the future to which they are all committed. So effective leaders understand they cannot pull off that future situation without the help and involvement of key people around them. So the next step is build followership. Hint number 3, tip number 3, plan your strategy. All effective leaders have a strategy that will deliver success. They sit down with the key stakeholders and they think through what are the different ways and means by which they can deliver success. They think through a number of strategic options. They evaluate those options. They select the best option. They take into account interdependencies maybe in the organization that they have to think through. They take into account the potential obstacles and difficulties that they will need to overcome. And as a result of thinking holistically and taking in the big picture, they will put together a really powerful strategic plan. And now step number 4. What they then do with their strategic plan is they communicate that to the wider stakeholder group. The group of people maybe across and down through the organization that are going to be impacted by the change and whom they need to explain the strategy, the plan, and to whom they need to explain the process for managing that change and the roles and responsibilities those people have in that process. And then as part of the empowerment, they will actually train and coach those people to deliver change at their level. They will constantly and consistently share successes and give feedback and invite feedback from these people where they're experiencing difficulties. They will also get alongside people as part of the empowerment process to help them manage challenges at their level and overcome those difficulties. People in leadership situations are incredibly good at the people development side so that all are equipped to deliver the change that they're wanting at their level. Now finally, Tip number 5. What is all this about? Well, leaders begin to become ineffective leaders when they lose touch with the situation around them. They may have delivered a lot of good change in the past, but now, for one reason or another, they don't see the reality of what is going on out there around them in the marketplace, within the wider organization. They don't see the trends that are developing. They don't understand the opinion formers and the thought leaders. They become, in a sense, out of touch. And tip number 5, therefore, is make sure you stay in touch by constantly being in the company of people who can feed you the situations that are developing, so that you can see more current situations that need to be addressed by a future preferred situation. You can look at more gaps that need to be addressed, and then you can rerun the cycle of effective leadership, from creating your leadership space to building followership to planning your strategy, empowering people over and over again. So there we are. Those are the 5 tips. Use them, and I will assure you that you will become a much more effective leader in your role.